Ever had that frustrating experience of making a great coffee one day and then a terrible one the next? What happened? How can we make a great coffee every day? Hi, my name's Stephen and welcome to Barista Banter. Improve your coffee, rethink life. Making a great coffee every day comes down to consistency. If we're not prepared to follow the steps that make a great coffee each time, then we're going to have a hit and miss experience with our coffee at home. It's pretty similar with life. If we're not prepared to listen to what God has to say, we're going to have a hit and miss extraction of life. So what are the steps to making a hallowed brew at home? Well, first of all, I cannot emphasize enough the importance of getting yourself some fresh roasted beans. We need to be consuming our beans in our machines or in our filters or in our plungers within 3 weeks of roast date. Let's assume we've got that far. Today we're going to talk about the espresso machine and how we can make a consistent cup of espresso every day at home. There's 4 main things we need to keep in mind to make a consistent espresso at home, and they are grind, dose, distribution and tamp. First of all, let's go to grind. Over to the grinder here. Now the grinder is what mashes up our beans, but for espresso we need something that can do a fine grind. And so this machine will allow us to adjust the grind from coarse right down to fine. If you come and have a look, we can move this collar anti-clockwise and it will get finer and finer and finer. Similarly, if we go the other direction, it will get coarse. You see the manufacturer's arrow here indicating approximately where we should grind for espresso. Now we're a bit further around on a slightly finer grind than that. And it's really important to note that baristas will play with the grind across the day. And so don't think that you can set your grind and leave it for life. You're going to be playing with it across the day, across the week, as the temperature changes and as the freshness of your beans change. And it's very important to note that. Otherwise, you're just not going to be able to nail that coffee and have a great experience at home every day. The next thing that we need to know is how much coffee we're going to grind. There's no use grinding up hundreds and hundreds of grams if we're only going to use a small fraction of it, because it's going to go stale pretty quick if we do that. So come over here, we're going to have a look at a couple of options for today in the espresso machine. We could be making a single shot basket for one, or we could be making a really strong coffee using a triple shot basket. Today I'm going to be using the double shot basket, and in my machine that's about 20 grams of ground coffee that I need in there. So inside the grip handle we place the double shot basket and lock it into the spring there, nice and firm. Now really this needs to be inside the machine in the group warming up. It has been for some time, we've had it out for a few minutes now. We're going to put it back in and get it ready to prepare our shot in. So here's the group. And that's where we're going to lock our shot and pull our shot from. So it's going to lock the handle in there, the group handle, for a bit while we grind the coffee. And as I said, we only want to grind as much coffee as we need for a double shot, which on my machine is 20 grams. And I know if I turn my grinder on for 10 seconds, I'm going to get 20 grams of ground coffee for espresso. You'll need to work out how long to turn your grinder on to get the right amount in your double basket. You might like to try weighing it out to keep it consistent at first until you know exactly how much you need. So let's turn the grinder on for about 10 seconds. And that's about it there. What we're going to do now is put that coffee that we've ground that's in the chamber into our basket. But we don't want a wet basket up against our nice dry grounds just yet. So we're going to dry it out with a nice dry cloth. And get a nice dry clean basket in the forks here and rest them. And we're going to knock out about half the amount of coffee we need to make this double shot. Okay, now we're going to settle that coffee on the forks by hitting it twice. Not 3 times, not 4 times. We want to keep everything consistent. It's all important. And then the rest of the coffee we're going to sweep out of our chamber, and we're going to bring it up and just give it a little bit of a knock on the top of our chamber to settle the rest of it. And then we're going to spread those grounds, and just looking at there, I'm thinking I may have a slightly bit more coffee in this one, so I'm going to put it back down and just get a little bit more in there. There we go. And now I'm going to distribute those grounds. And basically that means spreading the coffee around so there's less chance of creating a spot of weakness for when the water hits it. I want to push the grounds north, south, east, west, and then I want to just chop it down and then screed it off. I'm going to bend my finger and use the sides of the basket and just screed off a little bit of that coffee into the chamber. And so we're ready for the next thing, which is to tamp it or to compact it. You imagine you're at the beach, you want to make a nice sandcastle, you've got to get that sand in the mould and you've got to push it hard. And that's what we've got to do, otherwise we're not going to create a nice dense puck to resist the water flow and extract the coffee oils at their best. So this is a metal tamp. We're going to apply about 15 kilos of pressure now onto the basket. Use a bench to do this so you don't you can get the weight right in there. I'm going to apply about half of 15 kilos, about 7 kilos to begin with. And then I'm going to really use about my body weight to come down nice and straight. And I don't want to be tamping one way or the other. I want it nice and straight on top of the coffee. Otherwise we create a plane of weakness which is going to get the water flowing in one direction on the side of the basket and potentially cause under extraction of our coffee. Now we're going to clean the basket off so there's no chance of creating any kind of a gap between the seal that we're looking for up in the group head. So get that nice and clean. And we're ready to extract our coffee. Now being consistent, it's hard work, it's hard in a cafe. You can imagine, actually I think you probably know the experience of looking forward to that coffee at your local coffee shop and then turning up to find the barista's taken a break. And someone who makes the toasted sandwiches is going to be making your coffee. And out comes a disappointing cup of coffee to what you're used to. What happened? Well, it can't be the beans, they're still fresh, and the grind change can't have changed that much in the last couple of minutes when the barista took his break. So what's happened? Well, a few inconsistencies have crept in from whether it's been too much coffee put in or too little, or too heavy a tamp or too light. Something's gone wrong, or a few things have gone wrong, a few things have been done freehand, a bit freely, and created a multitude of problems that have caused inconsistencies in the drink. So we can't just make coffee any way we like. It's similar with life. We like to think freedom is living any way we want, but at the end of the day, the happy life is the holy life. Well, let's see how happy this shot is. Let's lock it into the group, nice and firm, and we'll get a Dematisse cup and a glass so we can see the crema when we're finished. We're going to pull this shot and we're looking for about a 10-second delay before hopefully we're going to see some nice oozing of a dark brown honey-like liquid come out of the spouts. And we want to see it pour after about 10 seconds to create about 25 to 30 mils of espresso. Let's see what happens. Here she comes. Now that's not too bad. It's pulling up nicely. It's got a nice sort of initial drippiness to us, but it's actually going to open up and start with a little bit of tension there, pouring and pulling up and pouring. Nice tiger striping, nice dark reddish brown liquid. This is not too bad, and we want to pull the shot, or stop the shot rather, just as it changes and begins to change and pale in colour, which is about now. Okay, so we'll pull those two cups up. We can see inside there, we've got a reasonably nice reddish brown liquid there, which is what we're looking for, and a good amount of crema on the shot there as well. Now to improve on that shot, I'd say maybe it poured a little fine. And so to improve that, what I'd probably try and do is look at my dose. Did I have too much in there? Or start with the grind, maybe grind slightly coarser next time so we can open it up a little bit and get it flowing a bit more viscously. But that's not too bad, you know. Whatever you do, don't change everything at once. Only change one thing, your grind or your tamp or your dose. Otherwise, you'll never know what you've done right. Barista Banter. Improve your coffee. Rethink life.